What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Wednesday, May 24th edition of the Bet Pro video. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. We don't have any NBA games tonight, but we do have an MLB slate, and we are going to walk through some of the props for baseball tonight using the Bet Pro model. If you're not familiar with the model, it is a projection-based prop betting model. It uses our DFS projections, so the same projections that we use in DFS and have success with over there. We've applied them to prop betting as well. You can use the tool to find the best.
Yeah. I told my squad we gonna make it out. One way or the other. Yeah. I had some hoop dreams, but no jumper like I'm Adam. My pen is too clean, so I had to stick with rapping. My life is hella deep, dog, you couldn't even fathom. My goals are like Twitter, you can see I'm staying at 'em. I'm trying to be the GOAT. Every day I'm chasing ghosts like I'm Danny Phantom. And I can sell a nig, but I'd rather sell a hit. It's my niche, and business at the beat, so I had to hit the switch. And I am all in, I ain't on the fence. All these rappers peep my game, I ain't talking Twitch. Man, I'm trying to get rich. I'm trying to make my wrist match the plaques. I started from the bottom, I ain't going back. Told all the dogs, we gon' make it out. I would never fall, you can't take me out. I'm popping like a zit, I'm breaking out. And I am hella lit, you want a couch? They said I wasn't good enough, but that's in one ear and not the other. And they don't wanna see me shine like they close the shutters. But when I said I'm top 5, I didn't stutter. I put the 6 on my back like my name is Color. And I got the game in my hand, you would think I'm wearing cutters. They was sleeping on me like they tucked in some covers. But now I got everybody woke like they BLM. Now it's over like I'm pressing sim. It was looking dim, odds slim like M. It was sink or swim. They hated me but loved them. Yeah, they put me in the rough, but I was a gem. Told all the dogs, we gon' make it out. I would never fall, you can't take me out. I'm popping like a zit, I'm breaking out. And I am hella lit, you want a couch? Everybody dissing me, even Yes Jules. I admit it, yeah, it kinda hurt. It was hella cruel, but I use it as fuel. Ain't no turning back. I told Matt cut on the Pro Tools. And I'll never stop going in like I'm Quan. Yeah, I'm working to dawn, cause I know that I'm the one. I'm a king like Vaughn. I gotta keep a bag on me just like a carry-on. And people hate, but I carry on like a waiver son. I'm a couple years in, but I've only just begun. People thought that I was done, they was looking for a fort. I was coming up short, but I never did abort. Now I'm popping like a cork. I'm champagne sipping, cause now we got them clicking. I remember days when people wouldn't listen. I was contemplating quitting, but now I'm dripping like a gutter. You know that's where we came from. Yeah, I took a couple L's, now the only ones I take is when I face some. And I just got a new deal like I'm Taysom. You think it's scary now, wait until the tape comes. Told all the dogs, we gon' make it out. I would never fall, you can't take me out. I'm popping like a zit, I'm breaking out. And I am hella lit, you want a couch?
Check. There's no tweet. I assume it's going out soon. Whatever, it's not our control.
Yeah.
Just got it.
I told my squad we gon' make it out. One way or the
What is
other.
happening, everybody? It is Thursday afternoon, which means you know what time it is. Neil Orfield and I breaking down the upcoming Sorare slate over at Sorare. So as guys come in, if you could do us a favor by liking the video and subscribing to the YouTube channel, that is very much appreciated. And if you haven't checked out Sorare yet, it's free. And that's the best cost there is. So if you want to go check out Sorare, just click on the link that we have below, because you're going to click on that link and that is going to enable you to go sign up at Sorare. You're going to get the ability to build out a starting lineup of baseball players, and there's no cost to you. It's totally free. And then if you do want to move up and play in some of the more limited contests at Sorare, you could go purchase some of those cards on the secondary market, but it's not obligatory. It is something that could earn you some, pretty rare and valuable prizes. The one I always like to reference is that we had, was a couple of months now, somebody won a one-of-one Giannis in one of these contests, ended up selling it for nearly $200,000. So there's definitely some incentive to try to buy some of those limited player cards. And Neil and I are going to build out some lineups here in a second. But like I said, that link below, you can sign up at Sorare 100% totally for free. Neil, what is happening? How's your week going?
It's going all right. My Sorare week going fairly well. I'm currently in,
Ooh.
I don't know, top 30 or something. Maybe Mike, I don't want to misspeak because Mike can fact check me immediately what my actual place is right now, but it's I'm doing pretty well in the limited pro contest is my main one. Actually doing well. I just threw in a secondary lineup into the all-star contest just because get experience points or whatever, and that one is looking competitive too. So overall going okay. Kind of want course to go off because I did a full course stack, but yeah, can't complain about how my lineups are doing. And of course, I'm going to Austin tomorrow for a bachelor party weekend. So my day's going well.
So, do you remember what I said to you on the show last Thursday? I said this week's going to be your week, the upcoming slate, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure it was, but the subsequent one, for all intents and purposes, the next time we did a show together, it ended up being the one. Do you remember how you finished the previous slate where I called it as your slate?
I do not remember.
All right, so it seems like you did poorly. I'm gonna say though it carries over and that it was.
Yeah.
It's still me calling my shot because we didn't talk about Sorare on any other shows leading up to this. So I'm still going to take a victory lap for this.
If you're talking about the previous slate to this one, I missed the money by 1 fantasy point.
Oh
by
my God.
Literally 1 point. And Max Muncy got pinch hit for or ejected or something early in that game. So it was like, I feel like he could have got me that 1 point, Max.
That is the story of my life recently. For me, because I've been running really good in DFS as of late, but every day it's like, oh, the games are winding down. I've got this one guy. If he homers, he hits a double. A couple days ago is Mickey Moniak. Last night is Eugenio Suarez. I just need an extra base hit, a homer, something like that. Any of those guys, and I finish first in the big DraftKings contest. And what happens? They get pinch hit for. So we'll see. We'll see if I could. The one time that I don't get that player pinch hit for, I have a feeling they're going to come through for me. I just need them to not get pinch hit for, which has been a massive hurdle to clear as of late. By the way, if you guys are watching in the YouTube chat, say what's up, ask us some questions, and I'm sure that we're going to be able to answer any of those. Over at Stokastic.com, we do have baseline projections for every single player, so it's not necessarily maintained in the same way that our normal DFS projections are, but what it will allow you to do is just see how many fantasy points do we expect each player to score over at Sorare on average over the course of the season. I think it's a pretty good starting point when you try to figure out which players you want to get cards of for the rest of the season, or also maybe just you see a team playing at Coors Field, like something Neil and I have been focusing on a lot. And you might say like, all right, which players on this team are going to be the best fantasy producers? Maybe you want to pick off a couple of those players on the secondary market. And that's definitely a viable way to go about and approaching the slates. I'm kind of curious to review because you said your lineup is doing really well right now, Neil. Let's give a look at it. How about that? And see.
Right, let's take a look at my lineup. I like that idea.
Yeah, we'll see what it is that has to happen for you to potentially move up in the standings, who you're rooting for, and what's gone well to this point.
Let's say 96. Oh, it's also been dropping because my bats haven't started yet. I feel like I think it was in somewhere around 30th place earlier. Of course, none of my as these this Coors game gets underway, I expect it to move up a little bit. I could be wrong about where I started though. Top 100 at the very least. Maybe I was 70 something. Maybe that's what it was. At one point during this week, I was up as far as like 19th or 20th. But yeah, not quite there yet today. But who knows? If this Coors game goes off, I think I'm within striking distance. What can we check who's leading? I guess we can see it right on the right there. How many points does that lineup have, Mike? What about the one next to it, though? Do you see it to the right there in first? All right, so I'd say that is striking distance. It's a little bit tough. Like it's hard to do that in one day, but these scores are cumulative. So whatever my bats put up today, they will be. And a home run is worth 14 points. So, if the Coors game goes off, I might be able to fight there. I'm guessing there are others who have, Coors bats too. So probably unlikely that I get up to first, but, I think I could still move up a bit.
And John Riley in chat. Okay, looks like I did help him. He asked if I had a link for it. I wasn't exactly sure what he wanted a link to. It seemed like he was looking for a link to our projections, which I just threw that into the chat. So if anybody else is looking for our projections, there they are. They're right in YouTube chat. Just send them to John Riley. John, thank you for reaching out and asking a question. We do appreciate it. So let's go and look at the lineup. Well, here's the lineup that's in first. And it looks like this team is fairly done, right? There's not too much else going on here.
Yeah, I mean they've got the Blue Jays going right now, but otherwise, yeah.
Good point.
Which
So,
I mean,
you know why the Blue Jays are the nuts this week? They had that game the other day. Did you see what happened? Thankfully, it wasn't on a DFS main slate. The
oh
Tampa
yes,
Bay were
I did see what happened. Yeah,
two position players used by the Tampa Bay Rays in that game. The Blue Jays ended up putting 20 runs on the board. 20-1 was the final score. They got home runs in that game from George Springer, Vlad Jr., Matt Chapman, and Danny Jensen. So you got half the lineup ended up homering. They put up 20 runs. Did everybody in the lineup end up getting a hit that day, I assume, as well? You'd feel like an idiot if you're the only player who didn't get a hit that game.
yeah, you feel pretty bad about that.
Not only did every player get a hit, every single starter in that game, Neil, had multiple hits, and
Wow.
everybody that came in as a pinch hitter also had a hit. That's like, that is the nuts of nuts.
That is crazy.
And I also think almost everybody had an extra base hit.
Yeah. So that's hard to compete with that. Even with a Coors slate, hard to compete with that.
Yeah, that's a big one. Although Coors has been well, at least last night, Coors went off. Are you pulling more for the Marlins side or the Rockies side?
I think I've got 2 and 3. So I know I've got Soler, which I think Soler is going to be, enough people are going to have him toward the top at this point that he's probably less impactful. I think that I need the Rockies to pick it up there because they haven't done as well so far. So typically, if I want to move up, I need the bats that are in my lineup that have not done well so far are going to be the difference makers. So, Blackmon, Chris Bryant, those are the two that I really need. And then I guess Arise has also been a disappointment.
Yeah, so Arise did have, hopefully he's in the lineup today, because what ended up happening with Luis Arise last night, he's having a good game other than the double plays. The one thing that was driving me crazy nearly is you and I were both very high on the Marlins as a stack in general yesterday. They kept getting runners on base in the first few innings and then just grounding into double plays. Luis Arise was one of the guys. Yeah, it was extremely, extremely annoying. But then what ends up happening, Arise ended up getting a double. It drove in a couple of runs, and then they took him out for cramps, which likely just an altitude issue. So hopefully he's in the lineup today. But it didn't seem to be overly significant. It was just, he was dealing with cramps. That could happen playing at altitude. By the way, I'm interested. Tyler Glasnow is going to make his season debut on Saturday. This is one of the best fantasy pitchers that we have in all of baseball. Really quick, Mike, I'm just kind of curious. Can we look at some of his prices on the secondary market? Because this is a guy who was in the Cy Young mix the last time we saw him pitch. And then, he gets hurt. So now that he's back and healthy, I'm curious also, let's look at his minor league numbers. Minor league numbers for Tyler Glasnow. Let's see. What has he done in the minor leagues while he's been rehabbing?
I have not looked.
Yeah, does he have, are there any cards of his with relief pitcher eligibility?
Ooh, that'd be good. All right, let me check.
It would be a while, but a few years ago, he was a reliever. So I'm wondering if maybe there's any cards of those that exist of him as a reliever. Because we've seen that before. That's one of the big hacks that Neil has discovered that's helped his so rare lineups is that he has been able to play some starters in the relief pitcher spot. Well, some. Spencer Strider, the best fantasy pitcher arguably we have in baseball right now. I've been able to use him as a reliever. Any of those available for Glasnow, or they're only starter cards? All right.
I'm noticing, Greg, since you brought that up, I decided to look real quick. We do have Zach Eflin has relief pitcher cards. That's kind of interesting. He's picking it up for the Rays now.
Yeah, and he has pitched pretty well off the top of my head. I'll check his numbers in a second. But I do have the numbers for Tyler Glasnow in front of me. Pretty damn good, Neil. So he's made 4 minor league starts. In those starts, 13 1/3 innings. He's only allowed 1 run, 20 strikeouts in 13 1/3 innings. His last start in AAA, he pitched 6 innings, allowed 1 run, and had 6 strikeouts. It looks like, considering he pitched 6 innings the last start, I don't think we're going to have any kind of crazy restrictions for him right out of the gate. So if anybody's looking for a starting pitcher, you might be able to get for cheap. Glasnow, you could probably do worse than that. Let's look up Eflin, because you said there's relief pitcher cards of Eflin.
Yeah.
All right, Zach Eflin's numbers this year. Now, not an ace by any means, but there's a massive benefit to being able to get a starter with relief pitcher eligibility. And okay, I see why. So he made 20 appearances last year, 13 as a starter, 7 as a reliever. So that's where some of the relief pitcher eligibility comes in for Eflin. And Eflin this year, 3.45 ERA, 2.93 expected ERA, 3.66 FIP. His strikeout rate is 28.4%, close to a career best. His actual career best was in 2020. He had a 28.6% K rate. I think this is pretty interesting here, Neil.
Yeah. I mean, Adam and I have talked about this on the strategy show frequently that pitchers like Tampa is so good at evaluation and also like helping players improve that like the fact that he's on Tampa now under that pitching staff makes you think that they may have seen something like this will be an easy guy to improve whatever there's something that's not right with the pitches he's throwing or whatever it was they saw him and thought this is a guy that we can make into a good pitcher, and he's looking pretty good so far. So I kind of feel like with the Tampa effect, obviously also a ballpark upgrade, so kind of a lot going for him right now. And if you can play him in the relief pitcher spot, kind of think that's a card that I should be targeting. It's already up to $40, so I'm clearly not the first to have had this idea, but yeah, seems like still probably worth it.
Pitches, yeah.
So we can't play him on this slate.
So that actually makes him a little bit less appealing, just for the purpose, because that means you're not going to get a start from him out of the the upcoming slate, right? Because if he starts today, you're not going to get him again until let's see. So if he starts Thursday, and you have Friday, Saturday. Tuesday. Yeah, so you're not going to get another start from him until early next week. But something to keep an eye on. Maybe people, maybe he struggles today and people try to ditch one of his cards for cheap. Something to keep an eye on with Zach Eflin, because we have found that to be a pretty interesting strategy in terms of using the relievers. By the way, how did you find that Eflin has relief pitcher eligibility? Just by chance, or is there something you searched for?
Yeah, so I went to manager sales. I chose, I'm just looking at limited cards. So I chose the limited scarcity, and then you can sort by position. And I just checked off only relief pitcher and then sort by highest average score to see who else might be in there. Also see Anthony DeSclafani is in there as a relief pitcher. I'm trying to see Vince Velasquez, Kikuchi. I think those three to me are the most interesting. Strider, Eflin, DeSclafani, probably number 3. Yeah. We do have Tanner Hawk, Brandon Bielak, like some starting pitchers here, Johan Oviedo, but I'd say none that are nearly as good. Obviously, Strider in a class by himself, but then I kind of think that those are the Strider, then Eflin, then DeSclafani, and there's kind of a drop off.
And then is that DL Hall? It's hard to read.
Looks like it.
So
I know nothing about him.
That's kind of an interesting one too. First round pick by the Orioles a few years ago. He has pitched fairly terribly during the time that he's been up in the big leagues, but still somebody who's like a well-regarded prospect. So, if somebody's shooting for upside, that could be something of interest. But I would definitely be a little bit afraid of the fact that, well, it's only 16 and 2/3 innings that he's pitched at the big leagues. But if he ends up making it back into the starting rotation, he does have considerable strikeout upside. His K rates in the minor leagues, let's see, 29.7% this year, 36.1% last year. So, he's a starting pitcher that if he is able to get that role back and is able to find some success, he could be interesting with relief pitcher eligibility. But the appearances that he's made in the big leagues this year has been as a reliever. In the minor leagues, 8 appearances, all of them have been starts. He struggled in terms of a 5.06 ERA and a 5.18 FIP. But like I said, 29.7% K rate. So there's an upside there from that standpoint. What are some of the prices there, Neil? I mean, or Mike, if either of you could see it, I can't really tell.
Yeah, you got 16 on the year one, and then 20 for the limited,
And
where he has much more hair and nicer chains.
Yeah, a lot more hair there. And both of them relief pitchers?
Yes.
Interesting. All right, something to keep an eye on moving forward for sure. How many
So
points? Oh yeah, go ahead, Neil.
I just want to point this out because it's interesting to me. So I just decided to look at like who are the most expensive. So I sorted by I didn't see it. You can't apparently sort by most expensive here, but I could sort by least expensive, and then it sorted to the bottom of the list just to see who are the most expensive relief pitchers. So it made me curious. And it is obviously Strider number 1 by a mile, followed by before Zach Eflin is Andre Jackson, who I know absolutely nothing about for the Dodgers apparently. What do you know about Andre Jackson?
Oh, let's look at his numbers. Andre Jackson. So also like DL Hall, a lot of hair. That's one thing that I know about him.
Nice beard.
So I'm fairly confused by this. So he's an unranked prospect. Maybe there's just a limited amount of his cards available.
Okay, that could be.
He's an unranked prospect who's been like really super shitty this year. He's pitched 14 innings, all out of the bullpen, 7.98 ERA, 6.25 expected ERA.
Huh. I'm trying to see. I mean, okay. This I'm seeing auctions. Well, I want to see limit. I want to see last limited sales. Yeah, are like okay. The actual sales are like $4 or $5. So you're definitely right that it's just a matter of there's not that many available, and just one
Yeah.
person was like, let's see if we can get somebody to pay $90 for this shitty pitcher. So okay.
This is serial number 6 of 5,000.
Okay, that could be it too.
Do you find that the serial number drives sales at all in any kind of significant way? Is that
Not
something
not at
anybody?
all. Yeah, it's funny. Like I kind of expected it because this is in the NFT space that serial numbers would be significant. I don't think people even factored in the slightest bit.
There was a point in time where that was a really big thing. Like, oh, look, I want to get the lower serial numbers. And
Yeah,
to me, I was always kind of like, I get it if it's a serial number one or it's a jersey number that adds a little bit of appeal. But to me, like, you're telling me like you care more. You have an Andre Jackson 6 serial number versus like 112. Like, I just can't imagine
yeah.
caring.
So that has always been my stance. Also, I also come from like sports card background where like literally nobody gives a shit about any numbers other than first, last jersey number. Maybe like occasionally like I kind of want it to be a thing like if it's a 76ers card, if it's a number 76. I bought the Joel Embiid number 76 for some NFTs at one point. But yeah, it doesn't seem like that matters at all here. Like
Nah.
and as you know, I bought the Gorgie Jang jersey number
Yeah.
on Sorare, and I'm holding on to that one. That one is dear to me, but in general, I don't think people value it too much.
Yeah. But you do. I mean, that's just like a personal collector's thing
Oh
for
yeah, it's a
yourself.
collector. Yeah, but I care because it's jersey number. I wouldn't care if it was
Yeah.
the number 37. Like it's just like some random low number.
Yeah, no, same page for me. So not something that it's not like it's a tiebreaker or anything, and so or that you're even gonna have to deal with ties or anything like that all that often anyway. So
Right.
to me, serial number is whatever. I don't really care. Just give me the best players. Give me the guys who are gonna score the most fantasy points. That's what I care the most about. And of course, also, what are Neil's fantasy players going to do? What can we get out of his guys? How many do you remember how many fantasy points you need to make up in the current contest to move up to first or maybe even get to the next tier of prizes?
I know it's like 70 to get to first. I'm guessing it's not going to be that much to get to the next tier of prizes. What time does that game start? Actually, the Rockies game,
Hmm.
because that's obviously the impactful one. All five of my bats are going to be in that game. Yeah, it's coming up at 3:10 Eastern. So hour and a half from now.
Pull this up. So we've got 310. Kyle Freeland against Braxton Garrett. There's a really high total in that game. So opportunity for Neil to be moving up the standings. And like I said, if you guys weren't watching at the top of the show, if you're checking out So Rare for the first time, just use the link that we have below to sign up. It is totally free to sign up through our link, but it does let them know that we are the ones who sent you and no risk to you at all. You just sign up through that link and then you draft out a starting baseball team. You're not entering, any kind of personal information or anything like that. You don't have to put any money down. You just sign up and you get some cards for free. At a certain point, you could certainly pay for cards on the secondary market, but it is by no means a necessity. Let's check those standings one more time, Neil, and just try to figure out how many points that you need to potentially move up the standings. Look at the pay structure, at the potential prizes, and
Yeah.
then we'll build out your lineup for the weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have not gone out and bought new cards. I took a look at the upcoming slate, and I know exactly what I want to do. Um, which is well, we can talk about that when we get there. We can take a look at this first, and then we can talk about this upcoming slate.
All right, so the 201 to 2, and where were you again? Like around 200?
No, I'm around like 93 or so
Oh,
right
was it?
now.
I don't
Yeah.
know
Oh no,
why.
no, sorry, fantasy points. Yeah. You're right. I'm just over like 200 fantasy points.
Yeah, and then inside the top 100. So we want to get Neil to scroll down a little bit, Mike. Like, what's a feasible?
The
I'd say.
next tier would be 21 to 50,
And what do we need?
which
What's the bottom one? What's 50th place there?
219,
I mean,
and
that's
that
That's
gets
obviously
you
very
a
doable.
rare.
feasible.
What about the tier above that?
Ooh, 230.
I mean, that's feasible too.
It's
Now, of
also,
course, there are going to be people ahead of me who
yeah.
also have this game, so like, still a long shot, but yeah, I think I can move up a tier.
All right.
That's the best time to make a dentist appointment.
What
What
is?
is?
230.
Ugh.
Oh,
Terrible.
Oh my God. We
I
need
don't,
a
I
new
don't,
producer.
tooth. Oh, I get it now. I get it now.
No, I got it. I just
I
didn't
didn't get it
enjoy
right away.
Yeah, I would have rather have gone to the dentist than listen to that terrible joke again. It was no
That
good.
was pretty bad.
It
Like
was not great. It was not great.
you're
It was
learning over the past couple days how slow I am. After the I didn't get Big T's joke right away in the tweet. Now I'm not understanding Mike's joke. Just a little bit slow, I guess.
I it's all right. I would have preferred to have not understood that one. But let's go and try to build out your lineup because that's what we ultimately want to do here. We want to build lineups and see what we're liking for the upcoming slate. So, is there a Coors Field game this weekend?
There is a Coors Field game this weekend, which is exactly what I was alluding to. The Mets are in Coors Field, like feasting on
Oh,
those Rockies pitchers in Coors Field. I think the Mets is like usually I'm willing to play like I played the Marlins in Coors Field. If I'm willing to play the Marlins, you can bet that I'm willing to play Mets bats in Coors Field.
yeah. So the pitchers for the Rockies and the Mets series for Friday, we've got Connor Seabold against Max Scherzer. So not quite as good for the Rockies in that spot. Obviously, pretty damn good for the Mets. The Saturday game is going to be Justin Verlander going up against. Let's see, who's the starter here for the Rockies? It's loading on my phone. Chase Anderson. Oh boy, big pitching advantage for the Mets in the first couple of games of
Yeah,
the series.
yeah.
And then
I think
on Sunday, it is going to be Tyler McGill against Austin Gomber. So, not really the best spot in the world for the Rockies because they're getting Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander in the first couple of games.
yeah.
I know you have some Rockies bats that you're holding on to. Are you going to want to play them against Verlander and Scherzer?
Probably not. Like that. That's even in Coors Field. It's just like you're at such a disadvantage. No, I definitely want to be targeting the Mets here. Can you pull that up, Mike? I'm curious to see what
Okay.
the Mets prices are. So if you go back to the market,
Yeah, so we're going to be looking at Pete
can you choose
Alonso.
just limited cards, Mike?
Yep.
Yep, and sort by team, and then you're also probably going to need to sort by position to get rid of the pitchers.
Oh, Kodai Senga. Man cannot throw a strike if his life depended on it.
He's been disappointing.
He was great 2 starts ago. I said I tweeted that last night. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. That's what we're getting out of Kodai Senga.
Yep. You can see. Do you see the position? Yeah. If you just choose everything other than yeah.
Everything other than pitchers.
So yeah, obviously Pete Alonso, number one there. What is the price tag on Alonso? I can't read that.
Oof, people paying a premium for
And
Alonso
Lindor.
there.
I mean, yeah.
Lindor. Let's see. Keep scrolling down. Luis Guillorme. That's just random. Keep scrolling down. I'm curious to see what else pops up there, Mike. JD Davis, who's no longer on the Mets. Eduardo Escobar, McNeil, Kana, Mart. So just based on, like fantasy production, Marte is probably your best value there. Let's see. What was the Mets starting lineup for their last game, which is last night? They went with Marte was hitting towards the bottom of the order. I still don't view him as a bad buy low. Was there any Nimos? I didn't see Nimmo towards the top. Maybe he's a decent value if you scroll down further. Okay. 18. Marte, another one that I thought looked like a pretty decent value. He was like $1 cheaper or so.
Yeah, so I think you want to. I think I want to be targeting Alonso, Lindor, Marte. What's Jeff McNeil? We'll throw Nimmo in there, but McNeil eligible at second base. But yeah, I think those are like.
Oh, good value there.
All right, so yeah, I mean, I think that you're just taking, and I'm currently I'm ranking by hits, number of hits so far in 2023 to see who's doing the best. And we got Nimmo at the top with 56, Jeff McNeil, Lindor, Alonso, Marte, maybe Mark Canha. I think that's kind of like, I don't know that I want to get down to Brett Beatty, who has only 100 at bat so far this year. Vogelbach at 96. Like I'm concerned that they're not going to be starting every game. So I think
So
they kind of want to.
So Beatty is one of the best prospects in baseball, and he just wasn't on the big league roster to start the year.
Oh, okay. So maybe Beatty is somebody I want to go to.
He's probably a little expensive, though, I would assume. Maybe not.
All right, that's not bad.
An upside for the long term as well. These cards, you buy them, you get them forever.
Good deal.
All right.
Forever is a good deal.
That's definitely interesting. Definitely interesting. So maybe we shouldn't build out your lineup right now just because only a couple minutes left. I think maybe a little more interesting to just look for some of the players we might want to get. And, right there, we're looking at the Mets. Looked like there was some interesting stuff there for sure. And yeah, so the Mets lineup yesterday, and they're facing righties the next couple of games. So I assume it's going to be the same order: Nimmo, Lindor, McNeil, Alonso, Beatty, Marte, Vogelbach, Kana, and Alvarez was the starting 9 for the Mets yesterday.
Yeah, and then if you, who do you think are the best pitchers this weekend is the other question. So I think stacking the Mets makes the most sense as far as bats go. We've also got to find at least one starting pitcher to throw in there.
And you are getting a Strider start this upcoming slate, correct?
Yep, I believe so.
Let's see. What else looks good? So looking at Friday,
we got Hunter Brown at Oakland.
Ooh. I mean, anytime you get anybody, Oakland they should be ashamed of themselves. I know we talked about them last week also, but just what a disaster of a team.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, Hunter Brown against Oakland. Anybody against Oakland is going to look fairly good. George Kirby at home against the Pirates on Friday. That's not bad. What about over the weekend? All right, weekend games up.
$18 for Hunter Brown. That's not bad.
How about Valdez? Framber Valdez is also starting against the A's.
All right, let me check.
Also, like Framber Valdez seems to only start against the A's. Just like my experience playing DFS, it seems like every single day you have to weigh, like for DraftKings and FanDuel purposes, like, oh, Framber Valdez starting against the A's. Do I want to pay a ton of money for him?
Right. Yeah, he's only $25 here.
Not bad. And yeah, nothing too much else that stands out on Saturday. I'm looking through the Sunday pitching matchups. You got Dylan Cease against the Tigers. I wonder if is Cease a decent buy low right now? Are people jumping ship on him because he was in the Cy Young mix last year. He was a Cy Young finalist, and he's just not been great to open up the season. If there's any spot he's going to turn it around, though, it's against the Detroit Tigers.
True. Yeah, it's probably a buy low.
Yeah, let's see.
Pretty small sample so far.
Dylan Cease, 14, 13. Yeah, it's not bad at all. I bet he was like triple that last year.
Probably. All right, then we got Strider against the Phillies on Sunday. Nice.
It doesn't even. I mean, Strider's last start was against the Dodgers. He gave up a bunch of runs, but he strikes out like 10, 11, 12 hitters every single time. And it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, that's true.
He gave up 4 runs his last start against the Dodgers. Gave up, I think, all 4 of them in the first couple of innings. And I was like, oh, well, and you and I were actually talking about it after a show. Like, oh, well, it looks like Strider exposures that we have, that's going to kind of be screwed because he's getting hit hard early. And then he just strikes everybody out. And it doesn't matter. They gave up runs.
Yeah, true. John Riley says that his last 3 starts have been better. I think referring to Cease.
Yeah. He's going to pitch better than this. He's not going to do this. But he's one of the best young pitchers in baseball. No real long-term concerns with him.
Yeah, it's probably a buy low.
All right. That is going to do it for us. We didn't build a lineup like we normally would, but we kind of highlighted some of the players that Neil is eyeing to purchase on the secondary market for the upcoming slate. We got the Mets on the road at Coors Field. Always a good option. If you guys haven't done yet, do us a favor, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel for signing up at Sorare. Use the link we have below. You can sign up totally 100% for free. Thank you guys very much for watching. See you later. Good luck.